everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I spent all of January and February with a set TBR, and if you are new here, I'm a mood reader and I don't particularly like having a set TBR for myself. So when I hit the month of March, it is March 1st as I'm recording this, I was like, I'm finally free to read whatever I want. So that is what this video is. It's a realistic what I read in a week where I am mood reading and reading whatever the hell I want to read. I want this to be a kind of cozy vlog where I'm just showing you what my week looks like and what I genuinely read throughout the week. I have a few books that I could potentially get to, but because I'm mood reading in the truest sense of the word, there is no true TBR. So you and I will find out what books I'm reading throughout this video together. Okay, my loves, it's been a few days since I gave you that first update. I was doing some shopping, and since I want this to be like a more casual week in my life, like what I actually read in a week, let me talk you through what I was doing. I was going to a bunch of like Burlingtons and Marshalls and TJ Maxx's and Home Goods in the hopes of finding some decor to fit my new bedroom aesthetic. I'm not completely redoing my bedroom, but I want to bring in more spring cottagecore elements. So let me do a little haul for you and show you what I got. The first is this beautiful mug. It's so pretty. I think you can kind of see here that it has like the gold details, which I really love. I'm planning to use this as my TBR jar. I think this will be so beautiful to hold up in my videos. I don't do monthly TBRs, but I do have a series on my channel where I spin a wheel and a random challenge picks what I read for that week. One of the options on that wheel is a TBR jar, so this is what it will be. It's gonna be gorgeous decor in my bedroom. I also picked up this really pretty mushroom print, which I think is gonna look beautiful on my wall next to my bookshelves, but I'm gonna put this out because it's too shiny and it's reflecting a lot of things back at you that you don't need to be seeing. I love Squishmallows, and I found this one at Burlington, which is so cute and also reminds me of Mario. It will sit on my bed next to the rainbow creature thing that I have there, and this was only $9 at Burlington, which was great because I feel like it was $18 at Marshall's. And the final little decor bit, what I've been on the hunt for, I saw this beautiful sheet set at Home Goods but they only had it in twin and full size, and my bed it's a queen size. So I was on the hunt for it, and I found it at a Marshall's in the Bronx. So I picked it up. This is a queen size bed sheet. Not everything in my bedroom will be mushroom, but it will be mushrooms and flowers and bees and things like that. And of course I'm me, so I went book shopping. The first book that I picked up from Target was Lore of the Wilds. First, I think you're kind of seeing what the letters are doing. It's so pretty. I saw this on TikTok from the author promoting that they were going to come out with this book in 2024, and then I saw that Riley was reading it, so I was like, oh my gosh, this book is finally out. It was 30% off, so I only paid about $13 for this book, so this is what I picked up. And then I went to the thrift store and I picked up these two books, Notes on an Execution and Count Your Lucky Stars. Notes on an Execution is a book that I'm planning to read, and I know I will want to annotate, and it was only 75 cents, so I picked that up. It was at a 75% discount or something like that, so it wasn't even 75 cents. I'm a liar because it was 54 cents. 54 cents for Notes on an Execution. And then I picked up Count Your Lucky Stars, which if you're new here, this is one of my all-time favorite sapphic romances by Alexandria Belfleur. It was also 54 cents, so I got it because I know I'm going to want to reread it at some point, and I'm going to put it next to all of my other 5-star romances. But the book that I started to read on Friday night, I started Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I'm taking my time with this one. I want to annotate it, and I have a very specific color scheme going on. Apologies if this clip is loud, a train is passing. But yes, I am officially 183 pages into Bride, and I am enjoying it, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be a 5-star read for me. The issue that I'm having with this book is, of course, I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I love the world building that she's doing here, and I love the characters a lot in this story in terms of how much emotional complexity Ali Hazelwood is bringing into this story. But there's this plot point of a missing person that's taken up the majority of this story, and I was expecting a paranormal romance, which it will turn into, but for the first 140 pages, you barely meet this woman's husband. And considering that he is the love interest in this book, I was very surprised that we got so far into the story with almost no romantic interactions and almost no interactions between our heroine and our hero throughout this. I know at this point now they're going on some kind of journey / quest together, so we're going to have the love story officially come in, but for something that is marketed as a paranormal romance, it feels a little bit bizarre to me that we barely meet our hero until we're over halfway through the story. That's just a little bit strange. Well, almost halfway through the story. I'm going to continue with Bride. I'm going to continue my cozy crafts, and I'll see you whenever the hell I have a next update. All right, it is officially Tuesday, and I have finished Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I think I'm giving this like a low 4. I really enjoyed where it ended up going because the romance does eventually pick up, and we got a really great relationship between Misery and Lo. It's so cute. And Ali Hazelwood, she knew what we were waiting for. She knew what we were waiting for. And she does deliver. I think of all of Ali Hazelwood's published novels so far, this is the spiciest. All the tabs here, the gray ones, are like where I was amused, and then the red ones are like where something sexy or romantic was happening, so we definitely get a lot of steamy scenes. But I can't get over the fact that half of this book didn't even involve the male character at all. He was a side character in his own romance, which is why this was a 4-star read for me. I am also only 30 minutes away from finishing the Spitfire, which is on Audible Plus. You're not going to see my opinions for that in this video because this is reading that I'm doing for another video project. So a good mix of my reading now, since I don't have major projects on my plate, is just reading for pleasure and then also reading for video projects, which I also read for pleasure. I'm not reading books that I don't want to read, but it's more structured than how I would traditionally read. So I'm going to finish the Spitfire. I think the next book that I want to read is actually going to be either Sweet Vengeance or this book here, because it is also about werewolves. It's the story of this woman who finds herself like imprinting on or forming a mating bond bond with the alpha of the pack. Except she's not very popular in the pack, and she goes up to him in like a very public space and is like, hey, I'm your mate. Like, I'm feeling this mating bond. And he's like, that's fucking ridiculous. We're not mates. I don't feel shit. And she is humiliated. So she goes to this person in their community who can break the mating bond, and she breaks that. But only after it's broken does he start to have feelings for her and feel the mating bond for her, which I think is so much fun. So yeah, I hope that I really love that. I don't know how long that it is, but it's going to be great bedtime reading. And of course, I will see you tomorrow when I'm home from work with whatever opinions I have for the books that I finished. Okay. It's Wednesday afternoon. I actually got to work from home today, so I had my meetings and stuff, and I immediately put my pajamas back on. I'm here with the update that I attempted to read both The Tyrant's Rejected Alpha and this book here by Jude Devereaux last night. Neither of them were what I was in the mood for, which unfortunately is part of the hazards as being a mood reader, is I'm in the mood to read, but I don't know what I want to read. The issue that I was having with The Tyrant Alpha's Rejected Mate, that's what that book is actually called, is that I totally missed the word tyrant in there. I was just like, the alpha's rejected mate? No, this man is a misogynist. This man believes that women shouldn't have rights, actually. And I can tell that from the first few pages because our main character tells you that. Our female main character tells you that. I know he redeems himself and like eventually really has to grovel, but I'm not in the mood to read that right now. So I tried, I think it's The Knight in Shining Armor by Jude Devereaux. Did not realize this book was written in the 80s. And here's how I knew that. Some of the language that is used in here is not language that we would use today. And our main female character is not pleasant to be around, actually. Not pleasant to be in her point of view. And it's interesting just to see the stark difference that time can make. The 1980s doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but like Bessie's, it was a really long time ago. And my gosh, can I feel it when reading this. So I've just been like reading pages of books that I have checked out from the library to see if anything is calling my attention, and none of it is, because the truth is I just want to read a smutty little monster romance. So I'm gonna find a smutty little monster romance or alien romance, and I'll let you know which one I pick and what I think of it. This vlog should be called The Hazards of Being a Mood Reader, because I'm in the mood to read, but my brain wants to read everything at one time, so I can't pick what I want to read, and everything I'm picking up isn't working for me. So here's the other book I attempted to pick up. It's this one, which is part of The Prime Mating Agency by Regine Abel. This one has a bit of a darker tone because it's featuring a female main character who is wrongfully convicted and arrested because she finds out that one of the judges, who is supposed to be from the species that are like uncorruptible and have such a strong sense of justice, he is corrupted, and she finds out about that, and to make sure that he doesn't get caught, he sentenced her to life on this prison planet where essentially your soul gets broken and like you're lucky if you live if you go to this planet. It's darker though, because obviously the situation and the scenario is much darker than it is in the previous books, and the tone itself is a little bit dark, but the book isn't too long, so I think I will be able to finish that tonight. I am reading From Duke Till Dawn, which is a book that you'll be seeing in an upcoming reading historical romances vlog, which you should be seeing after this video. Truthfully, I was planning to wrap up this video yesterday, and I don't even know where I left off at, but I have finished another book. I finished I Married an Incubus by Regine Abel, which is part of the Prime Mating series, which if you're new here, I really love that series. It's like candy to me. I just eat it up every time. It's just so much fun. Not every time. There's 2 books in that series that I was not interested in. But I did finish that book, and I'm so happy to tell you that it was a 5-star read for me. First of all, I'm hella dehydrated. Give me a minute here. Anyway, so I Married an Incubus is about this woman who is wrongfully convicted for a murder that she did not commit. She was framed by a very well-known judge because she found evidence that he was extremely corrupted. But she gets framed by him and sent to this planet where it's a prison planet, and essentially she would have died while she was there because of the way that prison planet works in terms of consumption of energy, and it's very complex. The Prime Mating Agency is able to kind of help her out a little bit because she gets to marry one of the like prison wardens. He's essentially going to protect her, and this is a story of their marriage, but it's also the story of them working together to try to take down this very corrupt judge. And it's difficult because the judge is the same species as our warden character, which I believe is called an Obsidian, and Obsidians are by their very nature very much to the law, all about judgment, all about justice. And for them to be saying that there is a corrupt judge is like a big no-no, but they have to uphold their own laws. All to say, I loved it. It was 5 stars. It was very, very spicy for me. I kept going back and forth about whether or not I would give it 5 stars, but I settled on it because I loved it just as much as I loved I Married a Naga and I Married a Minotaur, which are my favorites in that series. I believe I mentioned to you that I was also reading a historical romance, From Duke Till Dawn, for my historical romance reading vlog. I'm almost done with that. I have about 2 hours or so left in the audiobook, but I'm not going to spoil my thoughts for you there. Just, this is part of my weekly reading, but I've been focusing a lot on hobbies, so I'm going to continue on that throughout the week. For me, something that has been super important has been hobbies outside of what I do on YouTube, because of course reading is a hobby. Not every book that I read is for a video or for any kind of project purposes or even for review purposes. It's just for me, but I need to have hobbies outside of that have nothing to do with content creation. So you can see on my shelf, I made these edges here and these as well. This one's hard to see, but shiny gold foiling. You can see it more there, which I think is so cute. It's not foiling, it's gold paint, but loved it. That was really fun. The one I'm most proud of is this one. It's not perfect, but I still think it's super cool, and I love that I'm getting into this. So I'm gonna get back to my hobbies. I'm going to finish From Duke Till Dawn, and then we'll wrap up this video of what I realistically read in a week and what my reading actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. The first thing I want to tell you is, look, I made this little embroidery on this old sweater that I had that stained. This isn't perfect, but I think it's so cute. I feel like there's more I could tell you about I Married an Incubus, and I don't know, I'm like having one of those brain fog days where I can't fully gather my thoughts here, but it's so much more complex than I'm making it sound. I was really hesitant to read this because of the whole prison system thing. It didn't seem like it would be my thing, but I went into it anyway, and I'm really glad that I did because there's a lot of nuanced conversations that are happening. There's a lot of conversation about like corruption and the justice system within this world, and restructuring the justice system and recognizing that there is no such thing as someone being able to make all of the decisions without ever being fact-checked or corrected, or have people looking into the decisions that are being made when it comes to sentencing people, as well as the dehumanization of convicts in this world. They're not all human, but in the sense that they get treated like absolute dirt under people's feet, like they're not even worth existing. So many of these people who were imprisoned like died, and a lot of them who were wrongfully imprisoned died after a few days. And the main female character in this talks a lot, Malaya talks a lot about how that shouldn't happen and it shouldn't have happened, and that is a huge slight on the people who oversee the justice system. And even though she herself has been wrongfully convicted, she spends the entirety of the book, when she's not making love to her sex demon husband, she spends a lot of time dismantling this and really trying to prove the case that this person was corrupt and this judge was corrupt. But not only were they corrupt, this was a complete failing of the justice system to have allowed him to get that far for so many years. So I really, really enjoyed this story. It was definitely a 5-star read for me. It's more action-packed, although I will warn you that I just love this series, but if I'm being completely objective about it, then yes, there are pacing issues throughout this, but I still love the story that's being told. But I did go ahead and finish From Duke Till Dawn last night, which officially wraps up this video and this reading week. I read 4 books in 8 days, which feels like a pretty normal amount for me to read. On average, I read about 9 to 12 books a month. I attempted to read, I think, 2 other books, and I DNF'd both of those, but I'm not counting those as DNFs because I was so early on in the book. It was more like testing to see if I wanted to read that. So that's what I read in a week. I read about 4 books a week. I think in total I read for maybe 16 or 17 hours this week, and I did not read every day. If we average 16 or 17 hours over 8 days, that means that if I were reading every day, I was only reading for about 2.5 hours max. vlogs. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know I had so much fun filming it and definitely found some favorites. Like the 2 historical romances really banged, and I really loved Bride. It wasn't a 5-star, but Bride was still a really good time. I'm gonna wrap this video up here. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in my next video, which should be my historical romance reading vlog. Bye!